nothing that is non-evident. So he assents to the evident, but not to the non-evident. Evident being sort of related to evidence. Moreover, even in the act of enunciating the skeptic formulae concerning things non-evident, such as the formula, they had a lot of mottos, these ancient skeptics. Such as the formula. Now, they are ancient people. I mean, you can find things in outlines of Pyrrhonism, like him thinking that people with jaundice see the world as yellow, when really they're the ones that look yellow. These ancient, I mean, they do pretty well, considering how fucking wrong so many ancient people were. But anyway, that's another subject. Moreover, even the act of enunciating the skeptic formula concerning things non-evident, such as the formula no more one thing than another, or the formula I determine nothing, or any of the others which we shall presently mention, he does not dogmatize. The skeptic does not dogmatize. That's the important point. Maybe you're pro-dogma. For whereas the dogmatizer posits the things about which he is said to be dogmatizing as really existent, the skeptic does not posit these formulae in any absolute sense, for he conceives that just as the formula all things are false asserts the falsity of itself as well as everything else, as does the formula nothing is true, so also the formula no more asserts that itself, like all the rest, is no more this than that, and thus cancels itself along with the rest. And other formula we say the same. If then, while the dogmatizer posits the matter of his dogma, and the other formula we say the same. If then, while the dogmatizer posits the matter of his dogma as substantial truth, the skeptic enunciates his formula so that they are virtually cancelled by themselves, he should not be said to dogmatize in his enunciation of them. In other words, the Pyrrhonistic skeptic does not say that we know for certain that nothing is known. Well, what's the point of it? Well, the point is that for humans nothing is known, including that nothing can be known, because, I don't know what a photon knows, or even some alien species, or even another individual human. It's just that if I'm honest with myself, I know that I do not know. If you're honest with yourself, I expect you to find the same conclusion. But if you don't, who knows? And most important of all, in his enunciation of these formulae, he states what appears to himself and announces his own impression in an undogmatic way, without making any positive assertion regarding the external realities. In other words, 150 years ago, I would say, hey, things are acting like little BBs. Atoms are acting like little BBs. I would say that. I would not say, oh, but they really are little BBs, or they really are this thing that they're behaving as. No, I would simply say what I actually know is that my perceptions are leading me to the conclusions that things behave a certain way. Chapter 8 has the skeptic a doctrinal rule. We follow the same lines in replying to the question, has the skeptic a doctrinal rule? For if one defines a doctrinal rule as, quote, adherence to a number of dogmas which are dependent both on one another and on appearances, and defines dogma as assent to a non-evident proposition, then we shall say that he is not a doctrinal rule. But if one defines doctrinal rule as, quote, a procedure which, according with appearance, follows a certain line of reasoning, that reasoning indicating how it is possible to seem to live rightly, the word rightly being taken not as referring to virtue only, but in a wider sense, and tending to enable one to suspend judgment, then we say that he has a doctrinal rule. For we follow a line of reasoning which, in accordance with appearances, points us to a life conformable to the customs of our country, its laws and institutions, and to our own instinctive feelings. In other words, the skeptic assents to the best alternative, but without saying that is absolutely certain. We don't just take the best of our choices. We have multiple choice suggestions. You could believe A, B, or C, and C is the best one. We don't take C and say, ooh, it's absolutely true. No, we take C and say, it's provisionally true. For now, it's the best one we had available. How could you blame us for going with the best one we had available? And you see this repeated over and over. It's a very redundant work. The language is pretty ancient. It's very redundant. It goes over and over these points. The skeptic, the Pyrrhonist skeptic, assents to what is evident. He just doesn't say that the world is in itself that way he is assented to. Why? Because it's evident that we have models of the world, ideas of the world, and it is not the world itself that we have in our head.